Okay, so you see the thumbnail, and I believe that some of you guys, some of you out there are gonna hate this video. Some of you out there are gonna like this video. Some of you out there are gonna be like, what is this man talking about? He's crazy. Okay, so we're gonna get into my final prediction of who makes the 53. Who makes the Giants 53 in 2023? And I've been going back and forth with myself. I wrote everything out. You guys know how I like to do my notes. I do my notes quick. Don't want nobody peeking on my list. But I had a time going through this because I even went against some of the things I've been thinking as recent as yesterday. So if you follow me on social media, if you follow me on Twitter, I do have some takes that some people don't agree with. The amount of running backs I want to take, or I want to keep, I should say, on the roster. And yeah, so when I wrote this list out today, some of the things I was saying before didn't add up. But without further ado, let's get right into my final prediction of the New York Giants 53. Now, here's the thing about the 53. The 53 can last a day for some of these players. Once these players start hitting the waiver wire, you might see these guys be replaced 24 hours after making the team. But for me right now, I'm saying the current guys that are on the roster right now, out of the 90-man roster or whatever, however many guys on the roster right now, this is my 53. This is my 53 guys that make the roster. Hopefully you guys enjoy this, and stay tuned because there are going to be some surprises in here that not everybody might agree with. So let's start off with some of the easiest position. The easiest position is going to be the quarterback position. Obviously, it's going to be Daniel Jones, and obviously it's going to be Tyrod Taylor. I only think we keep two quarterbacks. Because we need these roster spots. Now, obviously, with the new rule about the emergency quarterback, if we're able to stash Tommy DeVito to the practice squad, like I believe we can, we will call him up on occasion to go ahead and, be that emergency quarterback, just in case. So let's go. Next, we're talking about the running back position. So as far as the running backs go, I have us keeping 4 running backs, and I know that's crazy. It sounds crazy. And I've been arguing with people all week about me saying that there's going to be 4 running backs on the 53, and I'm still going to stick with that. I'm just thinking about who we have on the roster, possible injuries that could happen, and how it's important to keep these guys on the roster. And I think, a couple of these guys can help in special teams a lot. Well, I know one guy especially is going to be a special teams contributor, but the other guy can also be a special teams contributor. So, of course, we have Saquon Barkley. We have Saquon Barkley first. Then we have Matt Breida. Yes, I was going back and forth about keeping Matt Breida, but we do need another veteran presence in this backfield outside of Saquon Barkley. So, Matt Breida makes it. Our 5th-round pick, Eric Gray, also makes the 53. Now, who's going to be in that 4th spot? So, for me, I don't believe we keep James Robinson. I think that battle's going to be between an injured Gary Brightwell and then a young Jashaun Corbin. And for right now, I don't really know how serious the injury is for Gary Brightwell, but I do think we'll hear something about maybe a possible pup list or anything like that. But I got us keeping Jashaun Corbin as the 4th running back, that makes this 53. And let me know how you feel about that in the comments down below. Some people might love it, some people might hate it, some people might say, what for? I'm just telling you guys right now, this is what I'm doing. Okay, so next we're going to talk about the tight end position. I also have 4 tight ends making the 53. Now, there's a caveat to that. One of these tight ends will be that slash fullback slash halfback H-back type deal. Or I should say, yeah, slash fullback tight end slash H-back type of guy that we need on the roster. Last year, that guy was Chris Myrick. And this year, it could be a few guys that can fit that role. But here's going to be my tight ends for the roster is going to be Darren Waller, of course, Daniel Bellinger, of course, and then I have Lawrence Cager making the team as a tight end because he fits that same mold as a Darren Waller. So God forbid anything happens to Darren Waller, you know, Lawrence Cager is not the answer to that, but he's in that same mold where you can still have some of that versatility in your 12 personnel. And then outside of that, I have Tommy Sweeney making the squad over Chris Myrick. Chris Myrick has had such a quiet preseason that I don't think it helps him at all. I don't think Tommy Sweeney did much either, but he got the touchdown. He has the familiarity with the coaches. So does Chris Myrick. But I'm just going to lean towards Tommy Sweeney in this. So I got 4 tight ends making the team. Now here's when it gets a little tricky. Now we're talking about the wide receivers. Now everybody was talking about possibly keeping 7 wide receivers, possibly keeping 8 wide receivers. And here's the thing. I was all on board for 7 wide receivers. I was all on board for that. And then I'm starting to put the list together, and I'm going down the list, and I'm like, you know what? I think we keep 6 wide receivers. Now, hold on. I think we keep 6 wide receivers, and I think that Wan'Dale Robinson is on the PUP list, but once he's ready to go, he's going to be that 7 wide receiver that everybody is looking for. But I think we start the year off with only 6 wide receivers making it 53. I looked how they were able to use Darren Waller outside, almost like a wide receiver in the preseason game, and I'm like, there's really no need for that 7th wide receiver right now, because Darren Waller is almost like that wide receiver, and you can leave that position for somebody else, or once Wan'Dale Robinson is back, he can come back, and also guys like Bryce Ford Wheaton, he hasn't done much in preseason to even warrant a roster spot. I understand the development, the ceiling for that guy and all this, but right now he didn't do much. He didn't do much. Could he make the 53? Absolutely he could. But there's a couple guys that I would even pick over him right now, and that would be like Colin Johnson, but he's hurt. So I'm thinking about all these guys, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to leave it at 6. It makes me feel comfortable with the 6. And again, with Wan'Dale Robinson being that 7th guy that starts on the PUP. But here it goes. Wide receiver, Isaiah Hodgins, Darius Slayton, Paris Campbell, Jalen Hyatt. Those are going to be those first 4. And then, yes, I do have Sterling Shepard making the squad. And then, yes, I also have Cole Beasley making the squad. There's so much versatility between Isaiah Hodgins, Darius Slayton, Jalen Hyatt. These guys can all play outside, and then Paris Campbell can play inside and outside. So you can have a Sterling Shepard, Cole Beasley, and Wan'Dale Robinson all on the same roster because you have these guys that can play the outside too. So that's going to be the 6. Isaiah Hodgins, Darius Slayton, Paris Campbell, Jalen Hyatt, Sterling Shepard, Cole Beasley, and with Wan'Dale Robinson on the PUP. So we're only keeping 6 wide receivers. Wan'Dale on the PUP makes 7, but he won't count until he's, activated off of the PUP list. Okay, so moving along. Now we are at the offensive line. And some people say you got to keep 10 offensive linemen. I don't think we have 10 guys good enough to even keep as far as offensive line goes. So I squeezed on 9. Squeezed 9 offensive linemen on this roster for right now. So, of course, Andrew Thomas, clearly, Ben Bredesen, JMS, Mark Lewinsky, Evan Neal. Those are going to be your starting 5 right now. I don't believe Azudu has done enough to wrestle that left guard position away from anybody. So I think that's going to be the starting lineup. So the backups, in my opinion, right now are going to be Matt Peart. I know. Trust me, I know. I was trying to find a way to get him off, but, we need that backup tackle. So Matt Peart, Joshua Azudu. I got us keeping Marcus McKeithen, even though he's coming off an injury. I don't think he gets a shirt or on the active list anyway, but I think he's good enough to keep around because he is healthy, but we haven't seen much of him. And then Tyree Phillips, and I know. And just think about trying to squeeze on a 10th offensive lineman. We don't have 10 players good enough. Devery Hamilton is gone, stuff like. So I'm only keeping 9 offensive linemen. Would I be surprised if we kept 8? I kind of be, because with injuries you want to keep at least 9. But that's where I'm going to leave it, for the offensive linemen with 9 guys. All right, special teams. Graham Gano, Jamie Gillen, Casey Kreider. I don't want to waste any more time on that. That's your special teams guys. And let's talk about this defense now. When I was going through the defense, this is where I had a lot of trouble, and I had to go back and I was crossing people off and adding people on and just looking down the list of guys. But the easiest spot for me, maybe the easiest spot for me is going to be the defensive line. Dexter Lawrence, Leonard Williams, A'Shawn Robinson, facts, all facts. Nacho, yes. I have us keeping 6. I thought it was going to be 5. I thought it was going to be 5 defensive linemen, but I now have us keeping 6. I'm going to keep Jordan Riley, and I'm going to keep DJ Davidson. I don't know what's going on with A'Shawn Robinson for sure. How healthy is he really going to be? But I'm going to go ahead and use a security blanket and have 6 defensive linemen. So that's your interior defensive line, those front 3. I'm keeping 6 of those guys. Now let's talk about the edge room. So as far as the edge room goes, I got us keeping 5 edges. Azeez Ojulari, Kayvon Thibodeau, Jihad Ward, and then after that, this is where the surprise comes in. I do like Timon Fox a lot. I think he's showing some good tape in the preseason. He's taking advantage of the reps that he's getting. So I do have Timon Fox making the 53, but I also have a UDFA making the 53 in that room, and that's going to be Baldonado. Baldonado has flashed a few times. We'll see what happens in this 3rd game against the Jets, but he's flashed to the point that I think is worth keeping Baldonado, on the 53. Now, a lot of people say, oh, no, you could just put him on the practice squad. And you're absolutely right. And again, I went back and forth, and I thought about special teams and things like that. And I like what Baldonado brings you on the specials. Like, you can easily say, oh, just give that spot to Bryce Ford Wheaton or something like that. But I have not seen enough from Bryce Ford Wheaton, not even a flash from Bryce Ford Wheaton in this preseason for him to even earn that 53, despite just being off of potential. And we don't even know what that potential is really yet. And shout out to my man Monty, because he's probably mad at me right now, and I can feel it about his West Virginia wide receiver not making the 53. But hopefully we can squeeze him on the practice squad. And again, this is just my opinion. Hopefully you guys understand that and don't be too mad at me about it. So next, let's talk about the interior linebackers. Bobby Okereke, of course, he had a fantastic preseason game. His first showing, his debut was fantastic. This is the type of linebacker play that we've been missing. Next to him, we have Micah McFadden. Next to him, we have Darian Beaver. So that's the first 3, and I have us keeping 5. I have us keeping 5 interior linebackers for the same reason. It's about special teams, and trust me, I tried to keep the next 2 guys I'm going to mention. I tried to keep one of those guys off of the list, but when I got to the end of my list, I only had 51 players. And I went back through it, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to add both of these guys to the list because they're very, very important, and they make splash plays on special teams. And this goes against something that I was arguing about. I said we only need one of these 2 guys, man. One of these guys can stay, the other guy can go. And at some point, I said both of these guys can go, but these backup interior linebackers, the guys, the UDFAs, nobody stood out. Nobody took the initiative to beat out one of these guys in special teams. And that's going to be Carter Coughlin and then also Cam Brown. I got us keeping both of those guys. So I have us with 5 interior linebackers. All right, so let's talk about these cornerbacks now. The cornerbacks. Yes, the cornerbacks. Things have changed a lot in this training camp. Things that we thought were going to be a weakness ended up looking like a strength, or right now, from what the belief is, we believe it's a strength in the secondary. But of course, I have us keeping 5 cornerbacks. Yeah, I know that's great. 5 cornerbacks I have us keeping because of some of the versatility with the safeties and these cornerbacks. I think that it pretty much covers what's going on. So I do have Adoree Jackson. I do have Deonte Banks, Trey Hawkins, of course, and Cordell Flott. Now there's a guy on this team that we're up and we're down, and some people just absolutely want him off the team. Excuse me. I want him off the team, but when I'm looking at the roster and I'm looking at the cornerbacks, I'm like, okay, so as far as experience and who do I really trust if all these guys go out? And, unfortunately, I was like, I got to go against what I'm saying. And I believe somehow, some way, Darnay Holmes makes it on the team. And he makes it on the 53. I thought about Amani Oruwariye, whatever. Yeah, I thought about him. I thought about Aaron Robinson. He can't get off the PUP list. Nobody else really stepped up as far as the UDFAs. Jamon Green had a chance. Really didn't see much. Zion Gilbert drops 2 interceptions in the last game. Darren Evans, I do like Darren Evans a little bit, but he's more of a developmental player. That's the kind of guy that we could keep on the practice squad. Fantastic. But no, I had to go back and look at this list, and that's who I have. I have Adoree Jackson, Deonte Banks, Trey Hawkins, Cordell Flott, and Darnay Holmes making this team as the cornerbacks. And that leaves the last position room, and that's going to be the safeties, I should say. And this is quick. This is easy. I have us keeping 4 safeties. I got us keeping Xavier McKinney, Jason Pinnock, Dane Belton, and Javarius Owens. So the whole draft class makes the 53 this year. It's not that shocking, but when going into training camp, I thought that maybe not everybody was going to make the squad, but Javarius Owens has popped on the screen. Trey Hawkins, we already know what the story is with him. And Jordan Riley, too, has been fantastic during this preseason. And I think the whole draft class makes the 53. And that's going to be my 53. The last prediction. I can't wait for the real 53 to come out. I have some Abby bets out there and stuff like that, because some people do disagree with what I'm saying, and that's fine. This is just my opinion. I can't wait to hear what you guys say in the comment section down below. Let me know who you think should make the team. Let me know some of the names that I called out. Let me know if I'm crazy or not. So I will take no offense to it. If you're like, oh, Dash, you're absolutely crazy, this guy can't make the team, I want to know who those guys are in the comment section down below. But I want to thank everybody for vibing with me. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And from one Giants fan to another, this is Big Dash Knows, Big Blue Nation. Let's go.